Thanks for having us. Oh, wait.
Great.
John, thanks for having us.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'm practicing.
Calling the meeting to order. The first order of business is to announce an executive session on April 7th, 2017 to discuss real estate, and on April 17th, just before this meeting, to discuss litigation. The second thing on the list is to approve the minutes of the March 6th meeting, the March 20th meeting, and April 3rd meeting.
Make the motion that the board approve the minutes of March 6th, March 20th, April 3rd, 2017 minutes as submitted. Second.
Truth be told, I did not have time to review them, so I'm going to abstain so I don't have an argument on the way home.
On that subject.
Yes, good point. Any comments from the audience on that? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. And now I'm not in trouble for sure. We have a police report tonight. Sergeant Russell?
During the month of March, the West Vincent Township Police Department responded to 177 calls for service, including the following: the arrest of a 34-year-old female from Spring City for DUI after she was observed driving erratically along Conestoga Road. Also, the arrest of a 37-year-old male from Birdsboro for theft by unlawful taking, theft of services, theft by deception, and home improvement fraud. That's all.
Thank you. Any questions for Sergeant Russell? No?
Yeah.
Yes, Ron?
Did you ever find anything about the home invasion, the two black guys? I think it was it 3 cases? Just a couple months back?
That is, I believe that's Euclid Township's investigation. I haven't heard anything personally from them about.
May I address that? I talked to one of the officers involved from Euclid, and apparently the people had left their doors unlocked, and the invaders were people known to their children. As he said, home invasion never happens spontaneously. That was his
Never happens by what?
Spontaneously. It's always a put-up job, a land job. That was what he said.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sergeant Russell. Next is approval of the bills list. In the township bills list is $65,276.27. The reimbursable bills list is $6,584.45. And the subdivision utility plan list is $26,511.58 for a total of $98,372.30.
I make the motion that the board approve the bills list dated April 17th, 2017, in a total amount of $98,372.30.
Is there a second? Second. Any comments from the audience? Art?
The French and Pickering Creek Iron Man, are we the only ones who donated that, or are there other people involved, townships?
I have no idea that. Tammy or
I
Sarah?
believe
you
there's
know?
other townships, I can
Lots,
say.
West Pipeline, East Pipeline.
Yeah.
It starts in Kimberton, so the other municipalities.
West Pipeline apparently also.
And East
Okay.
Pipeline, I'm sure.
Thank you. And the Griffiths property for the taxes, how much ground is with the Griffith house? I guess the
I
house
think
and
it's
barn.
slightly more than 2 acres.
2.8.
All right, the rest of the ground around there then is in,
It's a different parcel, and then it's eased.
all right, thank you very much.
Any other? Yes, Brian?
We've got a thing called Blue Fox Creative there. Is this for feature improvements on the website, or is this keeping WordPress up to date and patched?
The Blue Fox Creative, uploading a few photos and changes for spring. Some things that we can't control, and Blue Fox Creative has to do it, so.
Okay, but it's not addressing then putting in any WordPress improvements or patches for that then?
No,
Okay.
no.
There's a thing there for Cody Computer Services. Cody is the program that the police use for their special processes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The HAB miscellaneous, this is the opposite one to that Art was mentioning. that's on the land trust, this is the property on the Horseshoe Trail that the township doesn't own, correct?
The open space at St. Stephen's Green?
It's at
Plan.
13 acres or so?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Mhm, yes.
The thing for Lowe's Corner Fire Company, tanker load for pipe flushing Hilltop. What pipes, where on Hilltop were they flushing, and why were they flushing?
There were flushing inlets on Hilltop, the exact location I don't have. I can look into that before you get back to you, Brian.
But what was the purpose of the flushing?
There had to be a clog of some kind, there was an issue, yeah, that they wanted to make sure, maybe see on the other side, figure some things out, troubleshoot for that kind of work.
Okay. Metropolitan, we've got two of them here that are kind of connected, I think. There's one for Metropolitan Communications for two-way radio repair and antenna, and there's also the backhoe steel bucket repair. They sound related. Did we somehow run into something and take out the radio and hurt the bucket at the same time?
No, they just stopped working at the same time,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
The one, and I'm going to say, our zoning hearing board solicitor.
Mhm.
Is that paid for by the township as opposed to being reimbursable?
It is paid for by the township.
Okay, and lastly, there's sanitary quarry and it's cold patch. That's the stuff that we call PSP, correct?
Right,
Okay. That's it, thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, John?
It looks like we paid for our audit. Is it available?
Our audit is done, yes, it will be uploaded on the website.
Okay.
Anything going to be included in the newsletter?
It's in the newsletter as well. A reference to the audit, yes,
Which came out today.
yes.
Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have the road material bid award.
I move that the board approve the road material bid Cedarville Hollow Recycling Network.
Second.
Just for kicks, should we let David read these again? Any comments from the audience? Brian?
In this thing, I've noticed we seem to have had, bidder shrinkage over the last few years. And so I look through it and see, can I see anything that makes any sense to me? And I look through it, in the beginning of it, it says, these things are supposed to be supplied to the PennDOT Publication 408 specifications. So I went looking through the specifications for the materials that we're purchasing, and there's no specifications listed for, I'm going to say, most of the materials as opposed to reading all of them. And I got a note back from Erica that says that the road crew gets a certification on the loads and checks it. If we don't have a specification listed anywhere, what does the road crew check to know that we got what we were thinking we're going to get?
They receive the certification, so they receive that information from the vendor. It's certified by PennDOT, so they don't have a PennDOT manual there to make sure it matches, PennDOT certification, but they take that certification. The vendor has to go through all of that with PennDOT initially, so that, that's really the certification that's required, so. If our road crew had to every time go back and double check that this is actually, PennDOT certified, we do rely on that certification, that information presented by the vendor. If there are any issues, that's a problem.
Are you saying that that certification has a PennDOT specification referenced in it?
It should. It should. I don't have that in front of me right now, but, that's something I can ask for. But that's what the process today, so.
Part of what you just said bothers me a bit because I read through some documents concerning PennDOT's review and approval of vendors.
Okay.
And they say that the vendors are capable of making the product, but only by testing of the batches is the product actually what you're supposed to be getting. So there's gotta be some specifications in here somewhere, but you're saying at this point, you don't know on the certifications whether they have some PennDOT specification on that certification.
Wow, well,
The company
I'm just trying to follow
certified.
you.
The company
Yeah,
certifies that
yeah.
it is.
Right.
Cedar Hollow is certifying the material that they drop off is certified.
Yeah, no, there's a big
So they would have to do the
violation.
testing, not us.
I don't disagree with that, but are they certifying it to a PennDOT specification somewhere?
Well, is the certification a PennDOT certification?
Yes.
Well, then, yes. Well, they should be. I mean, who knows if they actually are, but.
Somebody can use it for liquid fuels.
And Tammy just said to use for liquid fuels, and that's part of her report, but for the road materials, that would be.
The monitor will look for that form.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions? Then do I have a motion on this?
Yep. And a second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is paving and turnaround at Chester Springs Road.
Okay. We have a motion here that the township pave the turnaround at the end of South Chester Springs Road,
That's it, where the gate is.
where the gate is.
Then that's a motion, Mike? Right.
Yes.
Second.
Sarah?
is the turnaround laid out? Is there sufficient space?
It's
Is
as
there,
large as we can get it.
and how large is that?
It's 45 feet, isn't that?
Does that meet the requirements of the fire department?
Yes and no. They want it bigger, but the fire department's not turning around there, they're busting through the gate.
Is it big enough to keep the gate locked when the garbage trucks come?
It's hard for them to make that turn.
It's gonna be extremely hard. It's not gonna be a 3-point turn, it's gonna be a 5 or 7-point turn.
Are they willing to do that?
And they either do that or they back up. They really don't have many choices with
So
the road being closed.
You are planning to keep it closed?
For
Yes.
now, until we have more information.
Well,
Yeah, it's
you
not
know,
the
a
issue.
month or so ago, you were gonna wait and make a decision about that after the 3 municipalities met about the 401 study. So I was just wondering if something had happened when we weren't here.
Sarah, that couldn't happen.
Oh, yeah, John. No,
Nothing's
take me
changed.
on that one.
Nothing's changed at all. The residents have shown their concern, and they wanted us, and it became apparent that it needs to be paved.
Okay, so you're gonna, after it's paved, then it won't be an issue of special users other than emergency personnel using it.
I don't
I'm
understand.
thinking about the garbage trucks.
It's still
But
gonna
I-
be a problem, same as it is today. It might be a little bit easier because now it's gonna be paved, but it's still an issue.
Why don't we make it big enough to?
You can't, we don't own the property.
We don't own the land, we'd have to.
Can
get
we
that land.
negotiate for the property?
Well,
There's also other issues there. There's the drop-off on both sides, the culvert itself, and the use of eminent domain.
I would be sad to see you put in the turnaround if you decided to open the road and you would put tax money into putting in a turnaround that you didn't need.
I agree.
Thank you, Mike. It's amazing when we agree to do it.
Hold on, folks, did you just hear that? Sarah and Mike agreed.
Can we get that?
Anyway, I really, was that a question or more of a statement?
It was a question.
We are planning on doing this because the residents asked it, because it will solve, to some extent,
As far as we can solve it.
this problem down there. And there is a problem.
I've been down there, you know.
Ron?
There was some talk about putting up posts and wires rather than the guardrails, which I guess the guardrails take up a few feet on each side, as I recall. Has there been any discussion about picking up those few feet with?
As I recall the discussion, Ron, correct me if I'm wrong, the feeling was that it's probably safer to have the guardrails up there. There's less chance of somebody going over the edge and plunging down. So I would be inclined to say, keep the guardrails, just as a matter of public safety. That's my thought.
It was a suggestion I made, Rob.
Yeah, I never heard any more, that's why.
Yeah, I never heard anything either when I put it out there. I thought the wire would save a couple feet, but.
Apparently, there was no further discussion. Brian?
You're saying that this turnaround is going to be 45 foot wide or circular or whatever, something like that?
Yes.
So you're using basically 45 of the 50 right away, you're going to have 2.5 foot on either side. Well, the 2.5 feet is taken up by the guardrails.
Right.
Well, I'm going to get there, is that, maybe rather than putting a guardrail, because I could see you could have I'm going to say, a long truck extending beyond the rear wheels, where if you put it, I'm going to say, a high curb, so that, when they bump into, the curb will prevent them from going over, as opposed to, using guardrail. That might be, kind of like a better solution, and it, allows the trucks to go and maybe do it in 4 turns instead of 6. Is that a safety?
I'm not an engineer.
I mean, that is a great idea. You made one about a foot, a little higher than a foot.
I know it was installed just for the safety purposes and the culvert there, so, yeah, and it was something that Toll did install. So there was some money attached to that, but I can talk with our engineer if you want.
See how much space it saves
Sure.
if we were to do that.
Yes, my feeling is as long, my concern is safety. I can see somebody trying to back around and just going right over. But if we have a curb there that would prevent that, I could maybe go on with that.
Sorry.
I caution you may be leaving yourselves open to some other complaints from people who didn't expect a curb to be that high and ran into it, like running over stuff in the parking lot that was sticky or whatever. There's always going to be something that goes wrong for somebody. So you think of sticking with the engineering standards, maybe your safest bet. Just
She's going
a
to check
thought.
with our engineer. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, just let's also remember that there is post and rail fence with wire on it next to the top to the on the other side of the guardrail. So there's almost like double protection of somebody going over the edge. So it's super protected for not a whole lot of traffic, and people aren't going to be going back and forth. It's really for people who are turning around. So I just wanted to bring it up just so we can think logically about what to do rather than just like what's there, so we all know what's there. But when you talk to Brian from Cedarville, I'm sure he'll see that too. We've got like double protection of anybody going over the edge of the culvert.
Thank you.
Yes.
I had a question about the material that you're planning to use to pave, to,
You want to know what the material would be?
Right.
I think just whatever regular asphalt
Okay.
material.
yes,
Asphalt is not stone.
okay.
Ron?
If you approve this, when do you think it would be done?
Well, now the asphalt plants are open, correct?
It should be based on an estimate that hopefully wouldn't have to go out to bid. I think the size of the work, it would be based on 3 estimates, which
3
makes
phone
it go,
estimates.
yeah, which we
Which
can
will cut
contact
the
plans.
time down dramatically. We're only
Yeah.
required to make 3 phone bids rather than 3 written bids.
Yeah.
So as soon as possible, Ron. We have the money. It's Erica, if this motion passes, which I think it will, could you put
Yep.
that as fast as we can get it done?
Sure.
So that means I just gave that the kiss of death. It'll be done in 2019 now. Anyway, any other questions? Yes.
Just one more. Are you still planning to make the cloverleaf design, or are you going to try to just make it a full circle?
I think we're just going to stay at the Cloverleaf.
I think what he called a hammerhead.
Cloverleaf hammerhead, yeah, that's the, yeah.
Could you
Configuration.
describe that more since you described it?
If it's not a perfect circle, imagine a clover with different segments so that the actual turnaround car can go in one direction and back up, but there's going to be some space where it's not, we don't have the space for like a cul-de-sac, let's say. So, it's hard to explain without a visual, I know.
Just make
So-
sure that Brian Kolakowski's involved and we get this as big as we
will.
can.
He's
Okay.
involved.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the area where just for clarification, you're talking about the area where the guardrail bows out on either side.
Right, right.
You're taking the paving up to the guardrail, I assume?
That's the plan.
Okay, now on the south side, of the east side, I guess, there's a small tree there,
Okay.
inside the guardrail. You want to relocate that, or?
We'll have to take a look, yeah. You mentioned that tree, so,
Well,
How big is the
we
tree?
don't have much room to begin with. so-
yeah.
That was inside one of those.
How
Yeah,
big is the
but
tree?
I'll
Ron?
see that.
It's 12 feet. It was,
So inch and a half, 2 inch caliper tree?
pardon?
Inch and a half, 2 inch caliper?
2 inch, yeah.
It's small enough to be new.
Check with the road crew.
Yeah. Have to
Thanks,
go out and
Mary.
check it out.
Any other comments? Sarah?
What kind of tree?
What's that?
What kind of tree?
Maple.
A live tree. Doesn't it?
It's a small oak tree.
Okay, an oak tree might be working with Venus.
Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye. Next is the MS4 Cedarville proposal.
I move that the board authorize the proposal from Cedarville Engineering to prepare the permit for the 2018 NPDES MS4 as submitted in the total amount of $4,270.
Second.
This is just for the application and waiver to delay the inevitable, correct?
Well, we have received, after getting all the additional mapping over to the DEP, they have advised that it's likely to receive a waiver, which is actually good news, considering how involved the program is. So no guarantees, but we'll submit it, and they're happy with what they've received, so.
We're spending an awful lot of money this year on engineering fees, but we've got
Yes.
to bite the bullet and eventually get this done.
Yes, it is a very important program to adhere to and plan for, so.
So let's figure it out, put it in for next year's budget.
For sure.
Okay, we can always, look at it again, but at least,
And if we're granted the waiver, we'll have another conversation about, different things we may or may not have to do. But if we're triggered into a full MS4 program that we have to plan for, that is gonna have a significant budget impact, so.
How long is the waiver for? 3 or 5 years?
Five.
5, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Sarah.
So this 4270 is just to apply for the waiver?
Correct.
It's that additional coordination, including meeting with DEP and meetings with township staff, that kind of thing, which that could be
But all
less.
towards the waiver?
It's all
So
towards
this
the
again
waiver.
is a not to exceed estimate?
Correct, yeah.
Apparently, they used to just bless and give you the waiver, but they're getting tougher on it now.
Yeah.
When we got the last waiver, there were 7 or 8 members in the Northern Fed, and we were the only one. It was not an easy rubber stamp. Everybody was amazed that we still haven't had it.
Yeah.
And although John would like to be prepared for it, if we can put it off for 5 years, it'll save Mike a lot of money.
Not Mike, everybody.
Well, I have other ideas for your money.
There goes that across the agreement love story we were having earlier. Right.
Didn't we have, I'm going to call it a partial MS4 program, that we were inspecting or looking at certain particular areas of the township?
That's all part of getting the waiver.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so this is using that or part of it, okay.
correct.
And in doing some other reading today, I noticed there was a thing that said, and for your MS4 program, you've got to inspect your retention basins and clean them out if they've accumulated stuff. Do we have any program for that right now at all, for the retention program?
We're getting the waiver.
What's that again?
We're getting the waiver.
We have it now.
But I know we've been chasing after in retention basins at various times. There was one over Iroquois Lane and other stuff. That's why I'm just kind of curious.
Iroquois
Yeah.
Lane was a repair job though, because it failed, but I believe the HOA had to repair that.
Right, and we have a stormwater ordinance here at the township too for, properties that reach a certain level of development that they have to install stormwater systems. And, as part of that, the township has a responsibility to go back and inspect after a period of time. So that part, we have that in the township. A full MS4 program where we're looking at the outfalls and issues with pollutants and that whole thing, that's what's down the line. The mapping of that has been done though. So we are ahead if we were not granted this waiver.
Okay, but you've also, we do have some program to look at retention basins, and Iroquois was a repair, but then when the south dam was, division was, finally gone through, Jim Hill brought up the issue
Right.
about that basin, and that's why, he kind of elevated when I read this one. Do we have something else that keeps looking at other ones?
It's a big
Okay.
topic.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, I believe I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is to authorize the advertisement of open space review board ordinance.
I make the motion that the board authorize the township solicitor to prepare and advertise an open space review board ordinance to comply with PA state municipal code.
Second.
Joe, would you mind explaining this? Because we just want to get our money's worth out of you tonight.
Sure, well, I was afraid if I didn't speak this meeting, I wouldn't get paid, so it gives me the opportunity to talk. This ordinance simply takes out of the ordinance the requirement that the committee have a board member from the Board of Supervisors be appointed to the committee. It also takes out of the ordinance 2 references to a board member of the Board of Supervisors being on the committee. So it cleans up something that wasn't permitted previously.
Marianne?
If you're going through that trouble, have you looked at the ordinance to see if there were any other changes that wanted to be made?
He read the whole ordinance and he did make a couple changes.
I only looked at the provision
No, I
of
mean,
eliminating a board member from
I
the board
apologize, I misunderstood.
and some other wording in the ordinance that was related to that.
I mean, I thought that, maybe it would be a good opportunity for the board to look at what that ordinance is calling for and see if it's still relevant now. It's been, the ordinance was from 1999, so 18 years later. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it completely and look at it and say, is it now, are our goals still the same as they were in 1999?
All I can say is I can't speak for the others, but about a month ago or so, I read the entire ordinance and didn't find any objections to it at that point. But that's just me. Do you have any objections to this?
I never read the whole one. I thought this was it.
He didn't read the minutes either. David, do you have any? No.
This ordinance was designed specifically to take care of one known problem, not the rest of the ordinance. So if anyone now or in the future wants to change the ordinance or what the Open Space Committee does, then we can do that.
Yeah, it's pretty painless actually to do this.
So we could do another one. Okay.
We could do it every week if you want.
No, sorry.
Well, sure, it gets paid.
Gets caught.
Any other comments from the audience? Sarah?
Does this free you up to fully staff up the board?
No, this is solving the one issue where the resolution previous said that, a member of the Board of Supervisors had to be on that, and that's can't be, so we're changing that, and then we will.
I remember that can't be from previous.
So that'll be done at, I assume, the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll be ready to go.
So it's not able to meet now because it doesn't have enough members to have a quorum, is that the case?
No, that's fine, yeah.
Oh, okay,
It'll
so-
just be it's one vacancy.
Just one vacancy now.
Okay?
Thank you.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we're to my favorite part of the meeting, and that is the public comment on non-agenda items. George Stoltinas.
On Thursday, I attended the Planning Commission workshop, and we went through all the plans for Bryn Co-ed. And looking at the trail map, it's pretty comprehensive, but I think there's one thing that's lacking. And what I see is the trails go around most of the property, but they leave out a connection to Bertrandville. And if you look at the map, and I drew some maps here, you can see that the parcels, two parcels, comprising about 3,000 feet from the existing trail that's marked on the map, will take you to right across the street from the Schoolhouse Park, which the township owns. So that would give an opportunity to connect Bertrandville to the rest of the trail system. And I think it would be a minimal impact, at least for a pedestrian trail. And this is, I've included here the section from the multimodal plan about Bertrandville and the text about it being a focus area and how we should, connect pedestrian walkways to Bertrandville. I think this is an opportunity that won't come again, obviously.
Yeah,
I don't understand, okay. What's the blue?
The blue
The trail
is-
that already exists?
No, that's what I would propose, the shortest path to get there, and it's right along property lines of the subdivision. And these are big lots, these are 10 and 25 acre lots.
Which are the parcel numbers?
7, 5, 4, and 6.
Well, there's two, really two would be affected if you run it just inside the boundary.
Right.
I had heard this from somebody else also, and I think it's a wonderful idea. The time is running short. Can we, how best to handle this? Could we give it to Erica and let her go with Brian Sotomayor?
Sure. The Parks Recreation Trail Subcommittee recently met with the National Lands Trust to talk about trails. So we have their attention on trails, so we can approach them with this and see what they say about making the connection. But I'll have to look at, how it connects.
When you do that, would you then follow up with a phone call so we know where we sit, so if we have to take any additional action? Because time is running out, and this is the
Do we know if any of these 3 lots were sold?
I don't know.
It's going to be somewhat important.
Yeah, I do know.
Well, 2 lots, really.
Oh, wait, looks like
Well,
it's
you could
hits.
make
Oh,
it
and
2.
these are,
How?
Well,
Oh, yes,
depends
2,
when
I'm
you run
sorry,
the
you're right,
line.
I'm sorry, it's 2.
these are all in concept, so.
They are?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they're all in concept.
Sarah, you had a question?
Where does it cross St. Matthew's Road to line up with things on the trail with the south side of St. Matthew's Road?
I don't think they're sure yet.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, at this point, there's
Yeah.
no trail crossing
right, no.
between Schoolhouse and Flowing Springs. Oh, yes, there might be
Yeah, there's
one right
one.
across from the
Okay.
Township Park.
Right.
But
Okay.
And
I'm
that's
asking where this new segment of
Well,
trail,
it would hook up there.
well, then it's gotta be, may I take a look? It's gotta be crossing more than 2 parcels.
Take this.
And by the way, the trails are not subject to review in this particular action before the planning commission.
Say that again?
The trails that are on the map that George is referring to are not a subject of the review being done by the planning commission now, because we're looking at subdivision, and none of the trails go through lands to be subdivided. Oh, so that's more than 2 parcels.
You have more
There's
than
only
George?
2. Where's there more than 2?
It's going around 6A.
It's not going into it.
Yeah, I guess. And you, Erica, you think those 2 are in concept already?
Oh, I'm not sure about what's proposed. I'm saying that, what's proposed tonight. I'm saying in general that the Natural Lands Trust had put together their trail proposal, and that there's still room to discuss where it is not.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I
Into a
suspect that,
trailhead with a parking lot for residents could be, being
Yeah.
possible.
There's already parking there, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure, even yeah.
parking at the
Township piece.
schoolhouse park. Is
Oh,
that
yeah,
is that what
sure.
you mean, George, parking
Yes.
at the schoolhouse park?
Okay.
I suspect the purchaser of 6A might have the same reaction that someone else had about the trail so close to their yard.
Jim had
So,
something.
yeah, point of clarification. So because this is not in lots that were part of the subdivision, I don't know if I'm addressing Sarah or the board.
The board.
it's not something planning commission can inquire and try to get done there?
We can certainly talk about it, but it's not,
Sarah, the board's up here.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm giving this to Jim so we can look at it.
Oh, okay. It's not part of the subdivision, therefore, we're just reviewing the subdivision. We'll talk about it.
Now, the more people will talk about this, but I'm giving it to Erica so she can get it right to the National Land Trust very
And
quickly.
the Parks and Rec Subcommittee will talk about this. This would be perfect.
Any other comments?
I just want to just close, the alternative if we don't do this would be to walk up the winding steep part of Flowing Springs Road. It's about and it's longer than the 3,000 feet that the inside trail would be, obviously, so it's like a mile up Flowing Springs Road if you want to walk up the road to get connected.
Yeah, there's a lot of good points there.
Yep.
Do you have any questions?
Not pertaining to that, something else.
Okay. Any other comments on this trail? You're up then, next
Okay.
item.
Jim Berge, I live at the base of Jenny Lane, where it's always washing out. The road crew did a really good job cleaning out the pipe that goes under. Water's flowing through there like it's never flowed before,
Really?
so they did a great job. The bad news is they hit my drain pipe from the overflow, and they crushed about 1 foot of the end of it. So now there's like a cliff where the backhoe's to cut through there. That much is going to fall into and block it next time it rains. So I would like them to fix the pipe and to,
When did it
pull
happen?
that back a little bit so it doesn't wash in there again.
When did it happen? Can I ask you that?
Pardon?
When did it happen?
When I fixed it the last time, 2 weeks ago maybe?
Don't wait, just pick up the phone and call Erica.
No, she's right with that.
Yeah, the issue is it's in the right of way, isn't it? Right, of the area of work.
It's in
It still needs to be
Yeah,
fixed though.
Yeah, okay, all right, I'll check it
So
out.
my pipe's been there since I lived there 18 years, but it's overflow from my pond that goes
Okay,
into the gutter there, and then it flows underneath the road.
all right,
So now, when that gets blocked, it's gonna go over
Yeah.
top of my dam, and it's gonna maybe cause some other problems.
gotcha.
Let
All
me
right.
ask you a question, because I was under the impression that water hasn't flowed under that road through that pipe in years.
It seeps through. Yeah, we actually had some fish living there for a while.
Erica will take a look at it,
Yep.
and if you don't see any results in a week or so, give her a call.
Okay, thanks.
Any other non-agenda items? Maria?
I just have a question that I've been wondering about for a while. We hear a lot about, on Chester Springs Road, about the trash truck having to back up, back down the road, because they can't do a turnaround. Are there any other roads in the township that occurs? Because I tend to recall during the trash, things, that like Mailhorn, I think, is a backup. So I just wanted to
It
bring that.
happens in a couple spots, I believe. There is another one, is it Ivy Lane?
Yeah,
Something.
yeah. I think you
I
mentioned
was just
Mailhorn.
wondering if the board was aware that
But
that
this
does
is,
happen.
but
Yeah.
it happens, but this is a little different. Anyway, any other comments? Come on, folks, we were trying to get out of here at 8 o'clock, so we need something to take up 20 minutes.
Okay.
Beer cans.
Yes.
Well, now, the Bud Light people have moved on to Yingling. I don't know if that's is that a step up or a step down?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I did ask Erica to talk to the chief we could do something out there.
Trail cam, put that out. Check it out.
On all of
So
the,
we're gonna do that?
Yeah,
I think that's a great
I'm
idea.
gonna give it a shot. I
Or
know.
fingerprint those cans.
Yeah, there you go.
The DNA can.
Yeah, DNA, that's better.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to wear a disguise.
I know.
Leaving it.
If there's no other comments, then I'll take a motion to end this meeting. Second?
Sorry.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming.